Hi everyone, it is me, Jade Sims. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Today's video is a makeover video, but of an old family I created way back in 2020, well into my alpha era. I played with this family up until my laptop died, and with that, their lives ended. Introducing the Lee family, spelled L-I. I'll attempt to recount their alternative lives while I speak about Casey and Tiana Lee individually, but fortunately I have screenshots to help me in that endeavor. So for a general introduction, Casey and Tiana Lee were born to wealthy parents who lived overseas, but they grew up in New Orleans or Willow Creek in a grand house, which is a pre-made lot on the same block as the Pancakes, I believe. Whereas now they live in a Santa Coin townhouse apartment. I actually uploaded their renovated house in my gallery, but just beware, it is ugly and full of CC. Their purpose as a household was to test new content, whether it be new mods, packs, etc, CC. I wonder if this is a unique concept to me, or if some of you do the same and make new dispensable households for a similar purpose. I still find myself doing this for this household and other households as well when I find them well suited for new content I have. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, the first sim appearing in this video is Casey Lee. He is the youngest Lee sibling. When I played in my new save with a refreshed look, he had just begun college, whereas in his previous save, he began as a teenager. This time around, I thought I didn't have the opportunity to explore the Discover University pack, so I thought it was time. Once again, using this household to test out new content. I remember when I created him, I was heavily inspired by K-pop, as I just discovered CC creators from Siobhan who had recreated the style in the medium of CC. KK's creations, Rona Sims, and Gorilla all helped me create this style. Now I accept the distance of creating a Chinese sim with the surname L.I. Lee and dressing him like a K-pop idol. That really doesn't make too much sense. I will admit I am utterly ignorant in the realm of East Asian fashion, so please excuse me. Although I will say I have briefed myself on a couple of Chinese street fashion TikToks, and I've got to say that they're pretty swaggy, which is super unrelatable. I cannot walk down the street in like a full outfit. I am beholden to sweatpants. Also, as a preface, this is a reimagination video, not a makeover video, despite the title I know might seem a little clickbaity. I used to hate when I'd watch makeovers and simmers would change facial features, but I realize now as a simmer and sim YouTuber that this kind of video is to evaluate my sim style evolution and not to test the efficacy of skin details, which is why I'm altering the sim to see how I would make him and recreate him and his sister in the year 2025. You know what I mean? And one of those features that I changed and adapted to my new style was to, I want to say, ethnicify, and just making his features more visibly ethnic. So trying to include more Chinese or East Asian features, because the only thing I noticed on him before was just his eyes. He had a monolid, and that's the only signifier that he was East Asian. Ugh, it was terrible. But now I decided to add some skin details to kind of make his nose appear so, and I emphasize his monolid with some makeup too, which I'll get into later. As a general thing too, I made his face more harmonious because, you know, he was a little uggo before. I don't know what I was thinking. Now he looks like I don't know, it's just a slate. Because all my sims, when I played with them, they have to look good. I don't know why, it's just a prerequisite for my sims. Although, in the process of making the sim, I realized I need better presets. I need more nose presets more specifically, and also eye presets, because the eye presets for East Asian sims and like just monoliths in general from the Sims team is just so lackluster and terrible, frankly. They have a lot of, I believe in an update they have added new monoliths, but it just looks bad. It looks bad, like the eyes are way too big and I can't configure them to my sim style. It's a mess. I'm gonna simply request CC creators to just help me out and make some presets. Also, you'll notice from his before picture, there was a hair color change. So part of his lore, which I'm gonna explain all of his lore and his sister's lore. Stay tuned, please bear with me. Part of his lore is that he used to change his hair color frequently. So he is born with naturally jet black hair, but I guess as like a method of his like creative expression when he was younger, he changed his hair color. In the old save, it was like blue, it was gray, it was white, and I decided to reflect that with his new makeover, and he has like platinum-ish hair or like gray. I can't remember what his final hair color is, but I do, when I play with him in my new save, he does stick with his hair color. I do need to change his hair color for the future. Let's return to the old save. As a teenager, when I first played with him, he was very nurturing and responsible. By the way, he's the younger sibling by quite a bit. I would say like a couple, like 5-ish years, right? But he was the one in the household who had a part-time job. He made all the meals, he cooked, he cleaned, while Tiana was like a young adult. It was crazy. Let me not like lie on her name and like give her some libel or whatever. Give her libel, whatever, you know what I mean. She did have a part-time job, but the only only thing about that is that it was not high paying enough. Even though their parents provided them a house, they kind of were forced to fend for themselves to some sort of extent to help like maintain, you know, groceries, to buy like clothes for themselves, you know, extra things that they want to do because their parents provided just enough for them to get by because, I don't know, they were rich, but they were pretty greedy with their money, even with their children. Since he was a child, and I think this is canon in the new universe, he had the violin skill and he was brought up to be very obedient, to be very disciplined, to have multiple facets of skills. So he has a violin skill. He was also into rocket science at some period. Yeah, he's basically a genius. And in his old save, he was deemed a genius. In his new save, I didn't give him that trait because I used to give my Sims that a lot. Speaking of his traits, by the way, he is socially awkward, he's a perfectionist, a music lover, and he has developed the trait of snob throughout gameplay. And I find this is so well suited to Casey Lee. In his old save, he used to be like a genius, music lover, and a perfectionist. You know how when you were younger, you used to make like these uber perfect Sims? This new version of Casey is a more realistic version of what Casey would look like, you know? So to balance out his ingenuity, he has a perfectionist trait, which means he strives to be a genius. But to offset that, he has spent so much time working on his skills and bettering himself that he hasn't really developed his social skills, which is why he is socially awkward. And he's a musical genius because he just likes music, no explanation for that. But also he is a snob because he has grown up with wealthy parents and he has become so used to that lifestyle that he cannot accept anything less than that. Part of also the reason that he strives for greatness because he cannot help but maintain that lifestyle that he's grown up with. Even though he himself has worked really, really hard to get to where he is with having part-time jobs as a kid, cooking and cleaning, basically being like a full-time mother of his sister while she was off getting into mischief, being a young adult, you know, not being very responsible. He still is a snob because he just enjoys the finer things in life, which is not a bad thing. He just works hard and he thinks he deserves the most for it. I don't think that's a bad outlook. In my new save as a university student, he has the Discover University aspiration just for the purpose that I want to try it out. Did he fulfill that? No, because I wasn't trying really hard to. I was focused on other areas of his life, which we can get into right now. For context, I have played with this save and this family in my new save for a couple of months now, so there is a lot of additional lore that I have to explain on top of their previous lore. So I don't know. Even though my lore videos have been a flop on my channel, I adore making them. Like, they're so fun to me. I love editing it. I love recording it. Just the whole process of it is like so fun because this family, all of my families are just so near and dear to my heart. I just want to share them with you guys. So honestly, even though it might be a flop, I think I might create a lore video for them. Not for my current household, but just explaining the mess that this family is. Because if I tried to explain it all in this video, it wouldn't work, okay? The time just simply does not allow it. But I can give you a simple explanation of what he used to be in his old save as an adult, because I played with Casey Lee at least from when he was a teen to an adult, okay? And his sister I played when she was a young adult to an adult, okay? Just giving you some context again. So in his old save, he had a toxic girlfriend in high school. I don't know, he just really liked her. I used that couple to test out like some romance mods that I had and like some new animations. Not those kind of animations. I was also a kid when I was playing with that family, okay? Let's not get it twisted. But even though he had that girlfriend, eventually when they broke up, his best friend, who was a boy, helped him discover his sexuality. He realized that he was bisexual. What? Who would have known? Oh my god. I don't know if it was obvious that he was, bisexual. I think that's a bad outlook to have anyway. Anyway, he discovered he was bisexual, and the other traits that I described about him being academic, studious, whatever, is consistent throughout all the universes that I play with this family. But also, speaking of which, him and Malcolm Landgrab became a thing. And let me explain further. So in that old save, Malcolm Landgrab had a redemption arc. He had 2 bad apples as parents, and I thought that logic was like 2 negatives can make a positive, 2 bad apples can make a good apple. A Granny Smith, what's the best apple? I don't know, some apple crisp. Girl, don't ask me what apple names are. So yeah, instead of being like an evil, malicious kid who's just a menace to everyone, Malcolm Landgrab just was very self-aware of his circumstances, of his parents, and just did not want to be like them at all. So instead, he was just like a nerd, not nerd, a geek. So he was into like Star Wars shit. Him and Casey had like a mutual love of that kind of stuff, okay? way. And they became such a cute couple. I wish I could provide some screenshots here, but they got together when he was well into his doctor career, which I forgot to explain that. But Casey is in university when I first start playing with him in my new save to become a doctor. And also in the old saves, he was a doctor as well. So new save, he's studying to be a doctor. Old save, he already was a doctor without university. Okay, hopefully that's clear. In the present, while I've played with him for a while, he has graduated and has become a doctor since. Just clarifying that too. So yeah, he studies to be a doctor, and after he's been in that career for a year or two, that's when him and Malcolm got together, and it was so cute. I love them together. In the new save, he is out to his sister. Even though his sister knew, like, since he was a kid, he still came out to her with the idea that she didn't know. It was so funny, but she was obviously so supportive because, I mean, she can't not be supportive with all the things that she... Okay, never mind. I'll talk about her later. Let me not. I want to return back to the makeover though, more specifically the meta of it all, like what I've done to change his look. You know how in like male sims you put like certain bits of makeup on in like the makeup category, like skin details and such? Like maybe you add some like blush there that's just meant to look like what they actually have. It's not like they applied any makeup on them. For this sim, for Casey, I wanted to appear that he intentionally used his makeup and it shows. Taking inspiration from East Asian music idols, because okay, maybe I'm just speaking about K-pop here. Once again, utterly ignorant, but K-pop idols, the male idols, they wear makeup and you can tell. Like they have eyeliner, they have contacts. Well, that's not makeup, but whatever. They have blush, they have lip stuff. And I wanted to appear that Casey also took inspiration from them and wears makeup. He wears blush, he wears concealer, a lip stain, some eyeshadow. Like, I don't know, but in a very subdued way, but he still uses it nonetheless. I don't know why we have to stray away from the fact that like men can wear makeup, because I think it's cute. He looks even better with makeup. I think it highlights its features so well, which is why I used it on him. I think it's a nice deviation from the new standard that is approaching, which is that men have to be so super duper manly, and I rebuke that. No offense, I just rebuke that. But let's speak more about Casey and Tiana's dynamic, since I haven't really touched on that other than like scolding Tiana for making her appear that she was kind of a lazy older sister. That's not the case, okay? So in my new save, well, in all saves, they are super duper close. In the old save, Tiana had a husband, no, not a husband. She had a boyfriend and she had 2 kids. And Casey was the most amazing uncle to them. I'm so sad they don't exist anymore. Anyway, in the new save, they are just as close. In fact, probably even closer. Tiana pushes him outside of his comfort zone. And all of his love interests thus far have been introduced to him by Tiana. And a couple of them Tiana had interest in as well. Oh, not the T. Okay, but I'll speak about her later. Okay, Casey kind of encourages Tiana to strive for her goals, to have ambition, because she previously did not have so much. She used to be like a Uber party girl, you know? And I like how they can confide in each other and everything. He told her about his sexuality. She confides to him about all the bad things that she does. It's just so mutual, and I love that about them. Beyond the basics, I don't want to over-explain because I'm still thinking of making that video where I explain their lore, but some more basics about him. He's graduated. He loves crocheting. I think that's all I want to say about Casey Lee, though, beyond the fact that he is in a relationship with Miko from the City Living expansion pack. I really do want to save the rest of their lore for another video, which I know you guys might hate it, but I truly love it. I have learned a little bit since last premiering that video. Don't you worry. I think I'm gonna make it shorter. No promises though. I am a yapper. But we're gonna move on to his sister, Tiana Lee. In retrospect, when I was making over this family, I realized that their names were really anglicized, and to explain that for our story, I'm just gonna say that was purposeful from their parents, because their parents intended their move from, I wouldn't say China, whatever the sim equivalent of China is, to America, New Orleans. They were anglicized to fit in. It's not like SimWorld is void of any adversity, you know? So that's what we're gonna go with. But the real reason was that I was so fond of the cast randomizers way back when. Still am though. Still am. If you're a real watcher of my videos, you know that's all I talk about. But I just randomized her name and cast because I could not be bothered. Anyway, let's talk about Tina. Tina? Who the hell is Tina? Tiana. She is quite the character. Though this time around, I bestowed her more depth in my recent playthrough than of her previously. Before, she was just a social media influencer turned wife turned like business mogul, which, you know, it does sound fun, but I decided to switch it up this time around. She's consistently an award-winning decorated social media influencer. It's a canon event across all universes. She has to win some sort of award. In her past life, she was more wholesome. She climbed the ranks of fame by showcasing her beauty and fashion, eventually creating her own fashion brand and store in the crawdad quarter. She also marries her true love, Powell Consman, and has 3 children. I said 2 previously in this video. It's 3, 2 kids and 1 toddler. Currently in her new stage, she wrestles a lot of internal chaos. It's a lot. Firstly, she now has the self-assured, high maintenance, outgoing, love bug, animal enthusiast, and active traits. She has so many traits because I've played with her in gameplay and she just developed all those. I thought they were noteworthy enough to mention today. While she is self-assured and outgoing, she definitely appears so outwardly, she is reliant on the attention from her many lovers. Extremely so. Her attention span for her love life is fleeting, constantly finding a new sim to spend the night with. And I mean, close to every night, she is woohooing with someone. She is kind of an addict. Early in my gameplay with her, she had received a call from a wealthy sim who wanted to meet up with her at a hotel in Ciudad Emerada for some woohoo and some cash. She was abandoned by that sim originally, but luckily her genius brother Casey was able to track down that wealthy sim, and Tiana secured a sugar mother. Yes, you heard that correctly, a sugar mother. One thing you don't know about Tiana is she too is bisexual. I mean, this family is just full of fruits. So that wealthy sim we're talking about was middle-aged with a husband and children. She was closeted, so she used Tiana as a source to explore herself. It just is madness. It's madness. So the sugar baby lifestyle was beneficial, and yes, while they had a wealthy background, they were now able to be financially independent, because I would imagine from when they became an adult, their parents just cut them off. And I haven't really put too much thought into their parents with this new story. Honestly, I was just gonna pretend that their parents died, but I do want to do something with them. You know, I haven't thought much about it, why they're kind of estranged from them now. I would think it would have to do with some like control issues. You guys can help me out in the comments. But let's ignore that plot hole right now, okay? She was now able to support her and her brother. She actually paid for Casey's tuition in this universe thanks to her lifestyle. To supplement that, she also was following her dreams of being a social media influencer in this new save, and she was uploading makeup videos, lifestyle videos, storytime videos. Those get a whole bunch of views, and she was nominated for one of them. She does eventually develop a hatred of the media production skill because she just enjoys filming herself. And recently, in my new gameplay of her, she's actually become quite fame hungry, finding and seeking famous sims to woohoo with. She does have the serial romantic aspiration, by the way. She's not just doing it for, well, I'm not just doing it for shits and giggles. It's just because she has an aspiration. She is a menace, and I intended her to be like that. So she's had a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends throughout the course of her life, and she has completed all but the last stage of the aspiration. Actually, I think she has completed her aspiration. She has actually. She has recently completed the last stage of her aspiration, which means she is officially a serial romantic. Also, even before I completed her aspiration, she fulfilled her life's purpose. The thing that came with like the life and death expansion pack. She fulfilled her life's purpose just by like romancing and woohooing tons of sims. Yeah, that's all she cared to do, really. She speed runs her dates. Honestly, she goes on to dates. I like multiple times. She has gone on a couple of dates per day. Like, it's crazy. This has developed into her being fearful of being alone. That's a fear that came with one of the packs. Honestly, I can't remember. But she now has a fear of being alone. All these nights that she's with someone, every time she gets with someone, she hooks up with someone, it damages her self-esteem. And I don't know, from the beginning, her self-esteem was just completely mangled. But by being with so many people, it has certainly impacted her. And now she kind of feels reliant on other people to get satisfaction, to be happy. And that is not a good place to be in. At first it was fun, at first it was messy, but now it's getting really real. She is now neglecting some relationships for others because she has multiple relationships, let me just remind you, and she cannot maintain all of them. She has been duping all these men, all these women, saying that they're the one, even though she knows the reality. And the reality is she has a steamy dynamic with loads of people, even people she's not in a relationship with. She just like loves to do that. Long term, I think this is gonna manifest, and it actually has manifested as like some semblance of depression, which I don't really like to get too deep with my sim stories, but honestly, I feel like this is the only feasible route right now, because what she has been doing is kind of like a form of self-harm. And I want her so badly to be able to be content by herself, or even just with her brother, you know, not in that way. Whoa. I want her to be content by herself without a man or a woman, and maybe stave off of those people for a little while. You know, it's just, God. Because even though they are so rich right now and it has helped them like financially, what she's been doing, because she has actually picked up a couple of other sugar mothers. Yeah, I think like two more. That's crazy. And she is financially independent now, and she has like a little bit of fame. Like I don't need to explain further how detrimental it is. I'm gonna take the next couple of minutes to actually speak about her makeover and not about her lore. I need to give you guys some room to breathe, okay? It's just been too much yapping from my end. Okay, it couldn't be from your end because that's just impossible, but okay, let's talk about her hair color as well. When she spawns in, I know, does she have black hair? I don't know. When she spawns in, she might have black hair, but like her brother, she loves dyeing her hair different colors. She actually stayed with red hair for the larger part of her life, but she does change it to her natural hair color. She also does blue. She also does platinum again. She does blonde. So I haven't really changed up her hair color like Casey, but that's why she has like a fun red hair color. Also with her makeup, I wanted to show that she grew up in New Orleans and that she was kind of influenced by that makeup style. She grew up surrounded by American makeup, and more specifically Black American makeup, and that's why she kind of is keen on the lip liner. She loves like a fuller lash. You can see some hints of like East Asian makeup as well in her with like the blush placement as well, and also the stronger brow. That's very reminiscent of American makeup. But one thing I wanted to do was like fuse those makeup styles on Tiana. Her fashion style though is very American, like just typical baddie makeup. That's her. Since moving to California, or what is the world called? Not the San Francisco girl. San Sequoia. I can't believe I forgot it. Now that she lives in California, I think she's definitely become more Valley Girl-esque, even though that's not the Valley, but she has become more LA-ified. Also not LA, but you get the point. You know, her fashion now kind of reminds me of it. Just like typical influencer fashion that I see from LA influencers. But yeah, she is that girl. Well, in terms of her appearance, her life, it's kind of mangled and messy. But that's not even all of it. Like, oh my God. If I could explain to you all of her lore, I mean, I don't want to like hype it up too much, but there's just a lot more nuance, you know. Currently she has a couple of partners that she's in love with. Yeah. I'm just gonna say this is all I want to discuss with you guys right now. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you like sticking through this. I know this has been a longer video and I have been reducing the size of my videos recently, but this one I have decided to feed you guys also because I could not have cut more and more of this video, even though I've tried. I'll catch you guys though in the next one. Bye.